Honestly, I've kind of come to the conclusion that I don't really care. Football is my number one and pretty much only priority. I don't need to fill my time with all these sorts of things, whether it's going to the beach or doing all these. Like I was trying to fill my time with these hobbies, but it would affect my performance, which in turn would affect my well-being, my mental well-being. Let's go.
Patrick, but
like how can you ever tell what is healthy and what isn't?
You can't.
They could put whatever they want on a label, and then
I know.
I hear something different every other day. Like I'm supposed to eat this, and then one person tells me that it's horrible for me, or you have people saying that you need to be a vegan, and then other people doing the carnivore diet. It's like hard to know what is what.
Which really interesting on the carnivore diet. My buddy from church, he's doing that right now, and he got. Have you ever tried liver, like beef liver?
That's the craze now. Huh?
Yeah,
like raw. Is it raw? Like
there's these guys. There's this guy on Instagram.
Liver King.
Yeah, Liver King. But there's this other guy. I kid you not. He eats raw chicken on Instagram. It's disgusting. Healthy? His bio is like the raw meat experiment, and his thing is like, I'm gonna eat raw meat every day until I get like bacteria.
Until I die.
Yeah.
Which will happen.
I kid you not. Check it out on Instagram.
No problem.
He's interesting.
The Liver King, I don't think he's natural. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. I don't think you get that look by just eating liver and pulling weights. I don't know.
Well, liver is disgusting.
Yeah.
So I back to my friend at church. He gave me liver jerky in a bag, and I was like, okay. I wasn't expecting it to taste good, but it tasted awful.
Worse than you could have expected.
But if you look at the nutrition facts, it's got in a bag of jerky, it's got like 30 grams of protein. It's got like vitamin A. It's like 3,000%. I don't even know why you need 3,000%, but it's got all this nutrient denseness to it.
Yeah, I guess, but I kind of want to eat more, I feel like I won't be full if I just eat, what is it, like 6 ounces of liver, whatever they tell you to eat.
Well, there's meat stores that I guess can mix the liver in with like the ground beef.
Food.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. They can mix like liver into like your ground beef, your ground bison. And so I guess it like gets rid of the flavor, but you still get the...
I don't even know what liver tastes like, but I guess that to reach my true potential, I need to start eating raw liver.
Yeah. I had a guy on the podcast, Trenton Patrick, and he showed us Instagram video. He ate like raw liver. It was disgusting. And I was just like cringing.
Why is it okay to eat raw liver versus...
The only thing I know you can't eat raw is chicken.
Yeah.
That's like a no bueno.
Pork and then like probably isn't great for you raw.
Yeah. Either. And then like the ground stuff, so like ground beef, ground turkey, I guess the process through which they like grind the meat like creates an environment where more bacteria can flourish. And so I always go like well done to like medium well on like my burgers and stuff. But I'm telling you, this guy on Instagram is literally getting like ground beef from the store, opening the pack and like taking a bite out of it.
It's supposed to be all right if it's beef. If it's, like good beef.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Didn't you do like a what was the test you did last year where you were like...
I did the blood test where it kind of broke down inflammatory foods and foods that I need to completely avoid, and some foods that are like add-ins right away, and then every week or every day you'd add in one ingredient, literally, whether it's salt or basil or blueberries or whatever it is. And I don't know, it was it's just so hard. There's a million different variables. It's hard to tell what is helping with this, and it's such tiny little amounts of where you're trying to improve and get better. So it's, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'd rather just stick to a few of the things that I know and stay really like on top of all those things rather than running around trying to do a million different things. Because you'll always find somebody that says one thing's good for you and the other thing's terrible for you, or it's just there's so much information out there. I guess I try to stick to what I know right now.
Did you like from that? Did you use any of the information that you were like, oh, you're allergic to this?
Yeah, the idea was like you'd weigh yourself twice at night, and essentially, if you're eating right, your food, your body at night should be processing all that food and using it as energy. So you should lose however many pounds it was, 4 or 5 pounds.
I remember talking to you about this in the cold tub.
Yeah. I've talked about this a few times. I was really into it for a bit. It helped like some acid, like reflux and some heartburn stuff that helped with. That was really the only major thing I noticed. But it is interesting. You think some foods may be good for you, but some like acidic foods and stuff, you're sometimes it's better to just simplify what you're eating instead of putting 80 different ingredients into it, and you don't know how things are affecting you in certain ways. I mean, I just stick with a meat, carb, and a veggie usually. But I've been kind of getting away from the carbs a lot. My brother doesn't eat. He's so good on his diet. He's really good. He never touches a carb.
What made you like lock in on that last year?
With my neck, dealing with my neck pain and stuff, I kind of was at the point where I was searching for any answer.
Yeah.
And even when people around me were saying like, Joey, this doesn't really sound very logical, I'd be like, I don't care. I'm gonna try it. And that whole experience kind of taught me like stop running around and trying to find the answer. You have great things that you know what to do and know how to do and how to train. So once I kind of focused back on just doing what I know how to do, training with Todd, running and lifting, and just staying really consistent, not running around to this chiropractor, this doctor, asking this, trying this, and things just kind of came around, and I was able to manage it better. It's something I deal with all the time, me with my shoulders and the ice bags.
You just walked in here before we started this deal. You had
double ice bag, my shoulder pads.
Looked like you had pads on underneath your shirt.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm kind of done worrying about it until I retire because I know I can play, I know I can function, I can lift and train and do it. Sorry, everything that I need to, and I know maybe just not yet. I haven't found the doctor or the specialist that knows quite the thing that's wrong with me, I guess. But I'm gonna have plenty of time afterwards to search the world and find this and that. It definitely was weighing on me mentally, but just being able to kind of put it behind me and focus on work has definitely been better. But
was it just like tightness or?
It's kind of a lot of things. It's hard to explain. It's from my thoracic spine kind of branching out to my shoulders and stuff, but I'm definitely feeling a lot better than I was this time last year. It's kind of it's a weird wave. You kind of don't know what messes with it. Like even just video games or sitting around for long periods of time. That's that definitely
adds to stiffness.
I mean, like that's like, I try to just do nothing. Honestly, I get in the pool, I ice, I train, I relax, and then on the weekends I enjoy myself a bit. But when I can, I try not to just do anything, because anything from I don't know, playing golf, ping pong, anything where I'm really using that shoulder a lot, it can bother it. And honestly, some enjoyment for a few hours at a time isn't worth like the pain and some of the soreness. And a lot of the time it's a mental thing where you're upset that you're like, dang, if I would have just treated myself better through that time, I'd be feeling better now. But mentally, I'm not doing those gymnastics as much anymore. I'm much more like calm with it and kind of understand it better. I mean, all back to the mental health stuff that I was kind of going through, but it's a pain. I definitely wish it was gone. If I had one wish, or I mean, people ask me, I would pay any amount of money to make it disappear. But at the same time, everybody has something that they're dealing with, whether it's me, you, or somebody walking down the street. I guarantee I pull a random guy off the street. I'll be like, "Hey, how's your back feeling?" They'd be like, "Oh, awful, man, terrible." Tight. Yeah, like so. I mean, everybody has their problems, but I've been. I mean, I don't think I talked to you about this, but I started taking Zoloft. Is it Zoloft? Whatever.
Here, go. Make sure.
Sorry. Yeah.
Like a knuckles.
Yeah.
But that's funny too because Patrick's like had low back pain the past couple months too, and I had it as well. But I think, what's Zoloft?
Yeah, like just like an antidepressant.
Yeah.
And last year, dealing with my stuff, I was in a rough mental place, like dealing with my pain.
So mentally, for you, was it? Were you struggling mentally because you were just frustrated that you had this like neck pain and you felt like this was keeping you from 100%, or was it that and other things?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just the pain itself is a drag, I guess. But it's more so the way I was relating to it, the way my mind was working around it. Like if I felt a pain here, it wasn't just, oh, that hurt. It was, oh, now you're going to hurt later when you go to bench, or like my mind would just run not only that day of training, but that week to that season. And then I'd start thinking about, there's no way I'm going to be ready for this season. And then the stress would just keep adding. And then I'd think about, oh, well, I won't be ready for the season. What about after football? I won't be able to do anything. Like I would just fall down this hole of thinking about anytime I'd get a shooting pain here, it would kind of compound into like multiple thoughts about the future, and then that just kind of weighs you down. So just with the Zoloft, it really kind of takes a lot of those stresses. You don't really notice anything. It just kind of lifts it off your shoulders a little bit. So it makes dealing with those things a little bit better. So you're not feeling like you're about to burst all the time. Yeah. It kind of moves you back down to 3, where you're not at a 5 or a 6 ready to burst all the time. Because dealing with pain all the time obviously is a big stressor. But I think for me that the medication, along with just going through it, I mean, it was a tough time, but honestly I think it helped me like mentally and as a person. Last season was it felt, I mean, so much longer than this season. It's weird because things are going well now, and it's things are just rolling. It seemed like last year just lasted forever. But I came out of it, and honestly, I mean, like Gus used to always talk about, great growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable, which is, I really liked when he would talk about that because I thought it was really true. So I mean, obviously it sucks to go through stuff like that, but when you come out with a better, when you go through it with a solid people, first of all, around me, and a good mindset, I feel like you can learn a lot more than if you're just, things are going fine and you're just moving through every day without a second thought.
Dude, I found it really interesting. I think we were at, what's the hotel we stay at? Actually, don't say that. Hey, Joey, where's the hotel we stay at? Yeah. We were having a pregame meal. I want to say it was before one of our preseason games last year, but I feel like you and I always chat like the night before the game.
Yeah, we have some meals. Good talks.
Yeah. And I found it so interesting that you were talking a little bit about like thinking about the future and like the anxiety like that brings. And I was shocked because I'm like, here you are, like you're legitimately like one of the best players in the league. And you were describing like how you'll have like the anxiety going into the game of like, I have to like make that first play and then I'll like settle in.
Yeah. I just, that thing, I mean, it does get better, I guess, through experience, but if you always have high expectations of yourself, football, like there's so many variables. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can just like pull the arm too back.
It's literally if I go off to the side is the problem.
Yeah. We're good.
But yeah, what was I saying?
We were just talking about like making that play to like get in the right frame of mind. But you were saying like with experience, it's gotten better.
Yeah, it gets better, but obviously as football players, we have pretty high standards for ourselves, most of us. So, I mean, going out there, you're always trying to improve. So it's not like one year you're like, oh, I got it, I'm good. Like, I don't know. For me, it's really never enough because I always know once I get to that level, there's always more to learn, more to improve on. So, I mean, I'm definitely feeling good. Some games better than others, but it's tough. I mean, we care a lot, and there's a lot riding on it. And I think what I was going to say is there's so many variables in football that no matter if you play really well, some days you won't get the production and. You get your head stuck in the sack category or tackles for loss or whatever, and they're not coming because there's so many different variables to get those plays, and you could be playing well, you could be doing well, and if you're focusing on the wrong things, obviously that'll mess with your head. But yeah, it's a stressful environment, so it's not something I don't think I've ever went into a game like let's just totally relax. It's those emotions, I feel like they could be negative, but if you channel them into more like exciting mindset and like taking that nervousness and channeling it into excitement, it's pretty powerful to do that as well.
I feel like you, as the year went on, I don't want to say like started caring less is the way to put it, but there definitely is a tendency as a player to like, you talk about that expectation, like you want to have the production. And like, I know for you in particular, like sacks are very, very like important, and the numbers might have not been what they were. And it was like, we'd throw on the tape every single Monday and we'd be like, holy smokes, look how Joey is killing this tackle right here. And you wouldn't get the sack. So it doesn't show up on the like production sheet.
Yeah.
And like how frustrating that is. But I remember as the year went on, you started like not caring as much, but I remember the celebration against the Giants you had with that one sack. You just started having more fun. You just like seemed more like relaxed, and it was like, man, if the team wins, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. I think I feel closer to my teammates, honestly, the last couple of years. So growing like those relationships, it makes you like, it's hard for me to go out and play for myself every day now, so like having guys that you really care about and you don't want to let down, it made it. And Linval for me last year, he'd come up to me and I'd be feeling like crap going into a game or whatever, and he'd say something to me and I'd be like, forget about me, like Linval needs me, these guys need me. So more than ever, I feel like I've been playing for my teammates other than like really hyper focused on my performance and myself. But like you said, that kind of frees you up and lets you just play out there. But I feel like every season there's always a hump you have to get over. It's tough, whether it's, I feel like mine came a little bit later. It was after that Thursday game last year, and then I got COVID. That was a tough bump. But yeah, it's a long year, and I feel like every year there's a bump that kind of challenges your willpower, and so it makes you well, yeah, exactly. Kind of challenges you and makes you think about how much you really want to keep pushing. I mean, once you get to that 17th game, it takes a lot to. I mean, 4 more to get to the 3 more to get to the Super Bowl. It's a grind. So,
it's a long season.
Yeah, it's a long season.
When did you start seeing that expectation for yourself start to form? Like, was that something you always remember having? Like, I have to be the best out here. Like, I know your dad played in the league. Was that something that you always had since you were a kid?
I don't think so. I think it kind of, I can remember my sophomore year of high school. It was, I don't care. Like, I'm going and I'm playing and I bully kids, and I was out there like just not caring about the ball, driving them into the ground, yelling at them. Like, I was a bully out there. Like legit, like yeah. Like there's some. Watch my high school highlight tape. It's pretty good. Sophomore year, I
did the same thing in high school, dude.
But then junior year, I got my offer, and then kind of. Oh wait, no. Junior. That was my junior year. My bad. So my junior year, that was really my first year I got to play on varsity, and I was just a bully.
You didn't play on varsity till junior year of high school?
Yeah, no. I was a backup. St. Thomas is annoying like that. I mean, there's so many good players there. So,
did you have any offers?
I got offered by Alabama after my sophomore year. So that
So you're playing you played JV and got offered by Alabama.
Saban was like, I think I see it somewhere, and I guess he saw it, but yeah, I was just a bully, and I didn't really care. I didn't really look at it as much as like, oh, I got to be the best player on the field or whatever that is. And then kind of next year is when those expectations, like I had a great junior season, all the offers are rolling in, and then I was like, oh shoot, this is like a career right here. I actually have to start paying attention. I have to not be such a crazy guy off the field. I have to shut it down a little bit. And then, I mean, ever since then, I think it's just been every year, the expectations just get higher and higher for yourself. But, yeah, I think my junior year was probably the last year where I was out there just playing backyard football.
Reckless.
Yeah, reckless. For sure.
Do you remember, like, I think your dad only played 3 years?
So he played a couple years with the Dolphins, got injured, bounced around for a bit. So about 5 years in total. He blew out both of his knees, so it's not quite the ACL surgery isn't quite the same as it was back in the day. But he opened a gym down South Beach at that time, and he became the gym guy.
Yeah,
that.
That's crazy. I tore both my ACLs in college, obviously. And it's crazy to see how far they've come with the surgery. It used to be if that happened, your career was over.
They'd cast it.
Yeah.
Like until it was healed.
Yeah.
So you'd take the cast off and it'd just be this like stick leg.
Wait, legitimately they casted his knee?
They casted it.
ACL
his whole
surgery?
Whole entire leg. Put
That's
screws in it. Like he still has screws. It was an ACL. It was like a whole knee. Like you lose. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was.
But even with that, like they say, like with the ACL surgery, like they're moving it like hours after the surgery.
Yeah, that's
like
a big bend.
Mobility, motion,
straight cast for 6 months. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, those guys and gals would have no chance.
Yeah, like he would tell me stories about bending it afterwards. They would just lean on it and like break the scar tissue. Like it was like. It was medieval times back then.
But obviously knowing that about your dad, did that not scare you and Nick from wanting to play football? Like,
yeah, honestly, no, not really. I was too stupid to. Oh, my dad.
You're not stupid,
no,
Joey.
I'm saying that was not a thought that went through my head. Really the injuries that scare me are more so the head injuries, obviously now, but. But yeah, I think for my kids personally, I don't really want them to play football. Obviously, if they find it and love it and want to play football, I'll do anything for them to help them. But it's something that's given me a lot of things, but at the same time, it is a pretty violent and scary thing at the same time. But yeah, obviously they'll form their own path, but I'll stick golf clubs in their hand before football.
Patrick loves golf. He's like, let's go.
Yeah, let's go for sure.
But were you and Nick? When did you and Nick start playing? Just as
I was 9 or whatever. I had 9, and then I took a year off because my parents didn't really want me to play. And then my brother came up the next year and screamed and cried until they signed him up. He always had
Nick like
an
it?
incredible drive. Yeah, I mean he's special for sure. He was definitely born to be a football player, but yeah, then we started up. I was 9 or whatever. I don't remember the second time I played, but we played in North Miami, and then rest is history. He was an animal though. He was yeah.
Do you guys? How far apart are you guys?
2 years, 3 in school, like 2 years, 3 months.
So you guys didn't get the chance to play together at St. Thomas?
1 year.
Yeah, but he didn't play varsity.
He started.
Stop it.
Well, he was like he played split the reps at nose, 215 freshman nose guard. He's different. I know guys like to say that, but he's different. He's different. Nose guard? He is. I mean, he's a freak.
He's not nearly as tall as you.
I have some length on him for sure, and maybe some like natural football awareness comes to me a little easier. But when it comes to his body, he's
very well put together.
Yeah, he's a pretty
well
put together specimen.
He always shows up on the tape too. Like if we're doing like Crash 9 tape or stuff, like he does everything well. He's not just like a pass rusher.
Yeah, he likes playing the run.
Yeah,
he likes it for sure.
What led to you guys not wanting to go to any Florida schools and go to Ohio State?
It was just a good fit. You know, I don't know if you had Notre Dame in your head, but
yeah,
had Alabama and Florida State and Ohio State. And right when I went to Ohio State, I committed just because it was probably a little premature. I wish I would have enjoyed my official visits before I committed anywhere. But yeah, it was just a good fit. I thought I fit in there better, you know, Midwest. Florida State's too crazy.
Yeah.
I would be partying too much there. And then Alabama I liked a lot, but I just felt like I fit in better at Ohio State. I liked Urban. Coach Vrabel was there at the time, who I thought was awesome.
Coach Vrabel's awesome.
Yeah, he's crazy. I loved him, though.
I remember doing a camp. Ohio State, they didn't offer me, but I remember doing a camp there, and he was I think he was the linebacker coach at the time. And he eventually became the DC, right?
No, he went straight to the league from
being a linebacker coach.
He was a D-line coach.
Okay.
Maybe he was a linebacker coach at one point. But yeah, he left and then Larry Johnson came in.
Okay.
And I was pissed because I finally was getting close with Vrabel, but then Larry kind of took it to the next level with technique and everything.
You had Larry Johnson sounds so familiar.
He was at Penn State for a while, and then he's the man.
So did you go into Ohio State? Did that kind of seal the deal for Nick?
He was always an Ohio State fan because my mom went there and my uncle, so he would watch the Ohio State games. So he was locked in early.
Did they play sports?
My
mom and
uncle? My uncle played for the Dolphins as well. Okay. He went to Ohio State, played outside linebacker, and my mom played in high school. She never took it to the next level.
Yeah,
she could have though. Played college softball.
Yeah,
good genes.
Were you and Nick I feel like you guys do everything together, like best friends?
I'd say we're closer than we ever were, honestly, at this point. And back to going through like tough times, like last year, as it was for me and him dealing with me every day, and Todd, my trainer, having to deal with us. Honestly, going through that, and I think he has a better understanding of where I was coming from, and me the same towards him. And I feel like after that, I mean, we had butted heads plenty last year. He kind of couldn't understand where I was coming from.
He was living with you, right?
No, he has his place. That was a few years ago. He was living with me, but us living together isn't a good move either. Yeah, but yeah, just going through that, and I feel like we just came out understanding each other more, and we have a really good relationship now. I mean, we hang out all the time, obviously, but we've always been close. But I feel like we've always been close just because, like, we're brothers and whatever. We like the same things. Now we're really, like, growing that relationship, and we talk to each other, and I feel like I know I'm really grateful to have him as a best friend for sure.
Dude, my brother is 16 months younger than I am, and we're like best friends. Mm-hmm. It's so cool having a brother, and we do the same things as well. Like, he played college football. He's actually training right now to hopefully get a shot in the league after like a year and a half off.
What's his name?
His name's Justin.
Justin.
Yeah. You might have met him. He's been around a little bit, but so he's torn 3 ACLs.
Yeah.
And so, like, going through that together, like, I feel like we always brought the best out in each other, and there was that competitive drive and just doing stuff, and something about training together. I remember, like, you talk about training with Todd. Mm-hmm. Like, when we were coming out and trying to get recruited in college, like, we would go after school and we'd train together, and like, that was my training partner. Mm-hmm. And like, we'd lift together, run together, puke together. Like everything was together. And there was something about having someone that close in age who liked the same stuff that really, I feel like, brought out the best in me.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, along with that, Nicky had 2 ACLs and his groin. So during his knee and his groin rehab, he spent the whole period out with me.
That's what I was referring to. I forgot
yeah.
that was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
not last year.
So yeah, last year he came back from his knee. 2 years ago, he spent that whole year with me, and yeah, that definitely helped our relationship. Just being able to be there for him going through that time, because his last knee injury was really tough on him, and I mean I can understand. 3 season-ending injuries is awful, but he definitely had a few days where he was questioning whether he wanted to do it. I'm like, Nicky, you want to do it, trust me, give it a few days. And he came back and like back to the knee bending. I'll go in the room, he'll be in the room doing the knee bends, like, yeah, it's coming back. I'm like, oh, you're over it, huh? He's like, nope, feeling better today. So just to be there for him during that time, and for him to have a place to go because those, I mean, as you know, that experience sucks horribly, and to be able to be with your brother and be with Todd, my trainer, and working with him in a comfortable environment.
It'll like cut in and out. If you go like
me
back, you gotta like stay close.
Hello.
Nice and intimate. There you go.
I've never answered my Elden Ring question.
I know. Yeah, we'll get to the mailbag at the end for all the fans wanting to know if Joey beat Elden Ring, I guess.
No, we'll finish at the end. We'll finish those at the end.
What in those like low seasons, I guess, kept you wanting to play the game? You talked about like Nicky like questioning whether or not, like, how did you, I guess, process through and deal with those low seasons in life? Are there like certain things you fall back on in those times?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, there's always a time in the year where you hit a wall, and things are easy when you're feeling good and you're going to work and you're practicing and you're feeling great and you're winning. Winning obviously has a huge impact on how you're feeling. But I don't know, it's tough. I think just going through those times and understanding that it's just thoughts, it's just a mindset that you get into. It's not reality, and experiencing that enough times and having a guy like Todd to stay on top of me and never let me slip, because I think it's important through that time to really stick with your routine and what you know, whether that's training, meditation, all those certain things. So obviously,
what is your daily routine? Like,
shoot,
I guess an off-season routine.
Dad,
not right now, Dad. Sorry, Dad.
I mean, my ideal routine, like if I could turn myself into a robot and do it exactly how I wanted to every day. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're asking, or like what do I actually
just like
do
I guess
every day?
What does a typical like off-season day look like for you?
Well, Monday, wake up, go run. We run in the morning, and then I have my gym ready now. So I go hit the ice tubs, get ready, and then we lift. And that's about it.
You do the ice tubs before?
Yeah, so I run ice. I'll do like an ice tub for 10 minutes, and then I'll hop in the hot tub again, warm back up. So Monday's an upper day, so I'll run and then do upper. So it's speed. Twice a week we have speed days. Twice a week we have agility days. But I'm getting to the point where it's hard to go 4 days in a row.
4 days on the field in the off season?
Yeah. But it's all relying on, I mean, you make it light or heavy depending on how many reps or whatever. And say I'm not feeling great on a day. It's hard to say like what is my routine, because there's a lot of variability with how I'm feeling, and I talk with Todd, and obviously we work with things and can adjust anytime. So like on a sprint day, say my my groin or whatever is bothering me, go to the pool and do some movement in the pool, and I'll actually do some sprint work in the pool where there's way less impact and you're really working with the viscosity of the water.
Viscosity, Joey. Look
Word
at you, dude.
Day.
Word of the day.
Sesame Street.
Maybe less like physical. Like I feel like you're a guy that's obviously on top of like the physical side. I feel like you're known for that. Like you're just a technician, everything you do. maybe like even on the mental side, like you talked about like meditation, like, I don't know, reading, like how do you, like, when people say the NFL, sports, really anything in life is like 80% mental and then 20% actual like skill and what physical and related. What do you like?
I don't know how much. It might be a little more
skewed,
even in that
50-50.
I mean, there's some physical freaks that just go out and they don't need any thought. They just can go and be better than anybody else because they're just born that way. I mean, there's some people that are just genetically better than others, but where was I? What was the question?
Just like mental, like off season, like you mentioned, like meditation. Like I know that has been a big.
Okay, yeah, this is what I was gonna say. Like before, I would really try to fill my time with activities, because anytime when you're really sat there thinking, your head can get running, and you could go to places that you don't really need to. But honestly, I've kind of come to the conclusion that I don't really care. Football is my number one and pretty much only priority. I don't need to fill my time with all these sorts of things, whether it's going to the beach or doing all these. Like I was trying to fill my time with these hobbies, but it would affect my performance, which in turn would affect my well-being, my mental well-being. So, I mean, for me, I try to just meditate. I try to relax. I think honestly, I've made a decision this year that everything else other than how my body feels and taking care of myself kind of takes a back seat. So for me, when it comes to the mental side, really, it's just trying to stay on top of my meditation, whether it's just 10 minutes breathing every day. It's really not working on mindfulness and stuff isn't something you really have to sit down and do. It's something you work through every second of every day. If your mind's wandering in the car, just being able to take a breath and refocus on whether being mindful driving, whatever it is. But I like to usually lay down, do 10, 15 minutes of breathing, whether it's just mindful breathing or doing a gratitude meditation I like to meditate on. And then reading obviously is good. I mean, anything you like to play chess, any of those kind of things to keep your mind busy. I'm watching a lot of it on TV and stuff, but I mean, I say this, but ideally, if I could, I would. I mean, I can, but sometimes I'm lazy. Ideally, I would go home. I'd meditate 30 minutes every day. I'd read for however hour, 2 hours a day. But for me, sitting like this for 2 hours a day, like I'd rather say screw my mind for a couple more years. I'm going to go relax on the couch because I have to get ready to train. So I went through that last year trying to find all these hobbies to keep my time, like fill my time and keep me busy. But it kind of always came back to, you know what, these kind of are affecting my shoulder, and then it affects my training. And then that makes me mentally, it puts me in a negative space. So for the next couple of years, I'm going to just put this only one priority ahead of everything else, and kind of, I know I have the tools and I have the knowledge to kind of, after I'm done, pick up some of the pieces and really work on more the mental side and kind of other aspects of my life. Sorry,
it's a really good answer. Well, so
I haven't had to give long answers like this. My brain is like,
you're gonna go in the broadcast booth as an analyst?
God, no.
I mean, viscosity and all these technical responses. I remember, so Austin Eckler came on last year, and he was kind of given the story on when he was coming out, and obviously being at I think D2 or D3 school. He was at Colorado State, and that second semester going into the combine, he didn't even get a combine invite. And he was like, he dropped everything. He like dropped out of school. He basically put everything on hold and said, like, football is my priority. And I think there's power to that. Like when you just like really, really hone in on something for a season in your life. Now, if you do that for too long, I feel like it can mentally like affect somebody.
Yeah, because you only have 100%. And if you're people say, give 110%, you have 100%. And if you're giving 100% for football, you don't have anything to work on your relationships. You don't have anything. So for now, I've decided that it's worth not worrying about some of these other things and focusing on this one thing, which in the grand scheme of life and happiness might not be the most important thing, is playing football. But for right now in this chapter of my life, I think it's hard to know what you're going to miss when you're in it, obviously, or what you're going to take or what you take for granted. So in my mind, even if I don't love every day of it, I know there's a lot of things that I'm going to look back on and be like, dang, I miss that. I miss my guys. I miss this. So I just, at this point, I think taking advantage of it, even if, it's not something that I absolutely love to do every single day, it is an amazing place to be. I mean, I was complaining about coming out here. It's great. I mean, we get to go outside and look around with our buddies in the sun. Like it's great. And I could pretend like, oh, I'm not going to miss this, whatever. But I know.
Did that play a reason for you coming back this year? Because I know you haven't come to OTAs the past few years.
Not really, no, but it will play a part in me coming to OTAs next year probably, because I actually talked to Todd about it's nice to be out here. I mean, coming out here for minicamp, the flight, and then you're flying out 3 days later. It's, first of all, for your body, second of all, it's just good to get out here and be with the guys and you're kind of in your bubble all the time when you're in off season and you're talking to the same people and you're hearing the same things, and you come see the guys and it's a breath of fresh air. But no, it was mostly GIF pestering me, but I'm happy you did, honestly, because I've been enjoying it out here for sure.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about the transition from Ohio State into the NFL for you. Like, what was the biggest jump you felt like you had to take in your game? Do you remember that kind of transition, that rookie season?
Yeah, I can't remember who told me this, but they were talking about your moves, and when you come in, you're going to be trying the stuff that worked in college, and it's not going to work. And people get discouraged, and then they try to learn something else, where really it's just sticking with what you know and learning the timing and getting better at it. And I think that kind of resonated with me a little bit, because early on I would try like my swipes and all the things that I would used to do in college, and I'd be like, wow, I can't.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's not working. And that continuing to work with that, and along with meeting Todd and him helping my flexibility and my power and my speed tremendously, that I think gave me the ability to actually do, like, I don't think I was the player I wanted, like I saw in my head, until my fourth year in the NFL, honestly. Like, when I watched that year, I'm like, okay, I'm low, like I'm flexible, I'm moving fast, I'm playing, like my hands are working the way the swipe is, like 5 years ago when I'd work on a swipe, I'd see it in my head how I want it to be perfect, and yeah, it would work sometimes, but I never liked how I looked or felt like I was moving at an elite speed or elite bend or any of it. I honestly didn't think I compared to some of these higher guys, but now I genuinely think that I've kind of turned myself into, I think I always had the skill, but if your body can't do it, then your body physically can't do it. And some of these movements and stuff that you have to try to put your body into when you're pass rushing is pretty demanding on flexibility.
Was it like just ankle flexion? What was it?
Just everything. I mean, hamstrings, hips, ankles, everything. I mean, you could pull up some like still shots of me now where my foot is planted in the ground and my knees like almost touching the ground. Like, just a lot of positions that I know would have not gone well if I wasn't working on the things that I've worked on.
Does that give you like a little bit of like peace of mind, or I guess open your toolbox for like different moves? Have, like, as you've evolved in like the flexibility in those performance categories, have you, like, I guess, tried to expand your toolbox to like different moves? You're like, nah, hey, I can kind of do that now.
I don't think that as much as just making the moves that I was already doing much more efficient and much more violent. And I feel like when I'm feeling good and I'm playing well, I look like I'm like 5'11" out there because I'm always playing super low to the ground. I'm always lower than the tackles. It's like, for me, I can see if I look at my rookie film, even just my 3-point stance, it's a huge difference from my rookie year to now. Like the bend in my back, the rounding in my back, like how stiff I look just being in a 3-point stance versus now I'm like down, loaded, arm back. It's just helped me continue to work on, and I guess not perfecting because it's never perfect, but just keep, I guess the idea is to perfect it so perfecting my moves. Like the swipe is something that I've been working on since I was a freshman in college. So
I feel like that's your go-to, the double swipe.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say, I mean, everything kind of works off of it. So it's something that I didn't feel like I did well until maybe my fourth year in the league, literally. So
what's like the key to the double swipe? You'll see a lot of guys like on the bags, like doing the double swipe, but I feel like you almost use it as a speed rush. Like you almost like stick inside, but like your swipe is almost like, it's just to like get their hands off you to like get around the corner.
Yeah.
Is it a speed rush for you?
I don't know. For me, when I originally learned it, I would always try to flip that outside leg and it would get super high and it was all about getting the legs turned. But now with my flexibility and just knowledge of doing it, I've really kind of, I keep going back to perfected, but not perfected, but I've figured out how it's hard for me to sit down and explain what is the secret of a swipe where it has taken me literally
years,
hundreds of thousands of reps of doing it to just get a natural feel of how my feet should work and like in sync with my hands. So, I mean, there's I don't know if I could answer one secret.
What would be like if you could give any advice? What is this year 6 for you? Year
7.
It's
crazy.
Time flies. If you could give like any advice to your rookie self, what would you say 7 years into this NFL experiment? What would you tell yourself?
It's funny. I would say never start gaming.
Interesting.
That would be probably
like video
my
games?
biggest advice. One of my biggest, like, not because it's negative for people, but for me, I'm addicted. Like I have an OCD personality. So once I started gaming, I was all in on the Fortnite and all that stuff. So for me, when I started playing mouse and keyboard, that really negatively affected my shoulders and stuff. So I genuinely think if I never did any of that, my shoulder health would be maybe not significantly better since my spine is messed up from playing football, but it definitely had a big impact on kind of training and all that stuff. So that's one thing. And then I would probably tell them about meditation and focusing on my mental health. But I think this causes a lot of the problems with my mental health. So, I mean, you like to think everything happens for a reason. So maybe this is a challenge for me and something to learn from. So I like to maybe think of it like that. But those are probably the two things. That's the first thing I go to is just don't get a PC.
Yeah.
Just play your stupid Xbox.
Are you still playing?
No, I get on the PlayStation every once in a while.
You keep saying
or some Elden Ring.
Yeah, so let's talk about Elden Ring.
Say?
Well, I was going to ask a little bit more serious of a question. Yeah. Like I feel like you keep saying like the shoulder causes maybe some of these like I don't know, the mental struggles. Do you think like it's physiologically like it's like nerves that are causing like imbalance in hormone levels that are like making you frustrated, or do you think it's just your focus on it and it being frustrated?
It's the focus on it more. So like I was saying, focusing on it and relating to it into like if you're mindful and you're taking it in the moment, you go, okay, my shoulder hurts. At the end of the day, that's not going to cause this huge paranoia.
I'm not my shoulder injury.
No, like my shoulder hurts. Okay. But if I go, my shoulder hurts, that means it's going to be even worse when I bench tomorrow. And then that means when I run next week. And then that means, oh, you only have 4 more weeks. So I have to be ready and it's just like this snowball effect. And my therapist the whole idea of mindfulness is stress doesn't come from the moment. Obviously, if you're being attacked by a bear or something, it's going to be a little stressful. But I mean, you don't have stress in the moment. You have stress of thinking about the past or ruminating about the future. So if you just are able to take things as they come in the moment, it has way less impact on like stuff like that. Because for me, relating to a year down the road or my future, I'll never be able to golf. I'll never just be able to enjoy a round of golf because my shoulder hurt when I benched just now. Like,
you don't know that.
That's what I'm saying.
True.
You don't know that, but that's where my head would go. So to be able to rein that in and take it as it is, because those thoughts aren't real, they're thoughts.
You're exactly right.
They're literally, you can make them real as your brain makes them as real as you want them to. So if you think in your mind, I will never be able to have an enjoyable round of golf because my shoulder will feel like this for the rest of my life. Like, that's a thought that would go through my head. So, but it's like you just said, you don't know that. It's not real at all. It's a thought. So to
Which
be able
thoughts,
to just,
to that point though, our sports psychologist at Notre Dame would always say our thoughts control our actions, which controls like our physiological response. Like if you think about elevated heart rate and like stress, which affects our performance. And so like thoughts tied directly like to performance, but more specifically like thoughts and like emotions and your inability to like really enjoy the present. Anxiety is so fascinating to me because somebody put it this way. It's like anxiety is worrying and thinking not about 99% of things that are never going to happen. They're never even going to happen.
And even if they do happen, you deal with them as they come. It's not, there's no reason to inject more stress into the moment when whenever it comes, if it does come, you know how to deal with the things. And when it does come, you'll figure it out, and that'll be the time to deal with it. Not when you're thinking about it on a Saturday night when it may literally never happen in your entire life. So yeah, I mean, you could say thoughts aren't real, but they do affect you in a very real way. But if you look at them as they're just thoughts and you can just let them go, I think it's a valuable skill to have like that.
It's a super practical exercise to just sit down in a chair and close your eyes for 5 minutes.
And breathe.
Well, to breathe, but if somebody is doing it for the first time, like you talk about thoughts being a real thing, if you just sit there, just take notice and try to take like a bird's eye view and watch like your mind like go to certain places. Like it'll think, I forgot to email that person back. Like, oh, I've got to lift. What's the conditioning going to be like back in college? Like, man, how many half gassers are we going to have to run? Oh man, like my relationship with my wife or my girlfriend, like how is that doing? And like your mind will just attach itself to all these different things. And like, it's almost an uncontrollable, unconscious process.
And early on when you're doing it, it's because, yeah, like you're saying, the thoughts are running, but when I'm doing my breathing meditation, the idea is if a thought comes, you see it and you literally just gently cast it away. You don't shut it off. You notice it, you realize it, and you just let it float away and you go back to your breath. So it's just that constant state of being distracted and refocusing your attention. So over many, many times of doing that, it's just a lot easier. I catch it way, way faster. Like if I'm getting angry or something, I'm able to redirect my emotions or my attention a lot faster than it used to be, whereas before I'd be a little bit of a slave to my emotions,
For sure. I can relate a lot with that. All right, let's get to this Q&A from the fans, Joey. There were a lot of them. I pulled. You
might need to watch this.
Let's start with Elden Ring. What is Elden Ring? Why are...
It's the best game ever made, probably.
Is it kind
I think
like,
it's the number
like
one
Skyrim?
I mean, I never played Skyrim, but it's first person, I believe. Don't hate me, whoever listens to this. But yeah, Skyrim is, I don't really know. This Elden Ring stems from like the Dark Souls games. Have you heard of that? It's much more focused on like hard combat and stuff, but I don't know. You don't play like single player games, do you? It's hard to explain.
I like the
these things.
multiplayer games.
Yeah, for me, multiplayer just isn't fun anymore because I can't use my mouse and keyboard. It's like being handicapped. It's like playing with one arm behind your back after.
Is it a real difference with the mouse and keyboard opposed to like the remote?
Huge. So if I'm competing against people, I just get annoyed because it's like I was so much better, and now it's like taking 10 steps back, and it's just not that fun. I'd rather just go adventure and run around by myself and like challenge myself rather than go against other people.
Yeah. I got to send you this YouTube video. My brother, Justin, pulled it up the other day, but it was going through video games and like comparing like the map size.
Mm-hmm.
And it would like, cause everybody like knows about Fortnite. So it like laid Fortnite down, but it was fascinating to see how big some of these like maps were.
Elden Ring's huge.
Yeah, well, so there's this one game, and I don't know the name of it. If you were to explore every part of the map, it would take you some millions of years to do it. If you like explore, I kid you not.
Is it like that space game?
Yeah, I think
No
like,
Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think so. Where like you constantly the map is constantly expanding or something or being created. And if you explore a new planet, you get to name it after yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a game called No Man's Sky that's like that exploration type, but I don't know if that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some of those big games, they just make like randomly generated areas that go on forever to give you like the feel that it's big. But you go anywhere and there's nothing to do anywhere. You're just in giant empty space of nothingness. So
you haven't beat Elden Ring?
Not yet. I like my game. I can't game for long, so I really have to pace myself. So if I reward myself with a couple hours of Elden Ring here or there, but if I could, I'd probably be locked away in my room, like 600 hours already put into it. But no, it's great. I mean, for me, it's a true escape, you know, like there's nothing that really fully takes like all your senses. Like you're actually really focused in the inputs and playing. And this game is like, it's really tough at some points. So it's really demanding and you have to learn the patterns. So you just can spend an hour on beating one guy and it's like, it's just fun. I don't know. It's really addicting, but I think I meant to mention this going back to the mindfulness and like video games. It does not help with that. It's like the complete opposite effect.
Really?
I mean, being on your phone all the time, like it's tough. I mean, that's I meant to mention it earlier that's just going against everything that I'm trying to do. So
what kind of I mean, it ties back to your advice you'd give your rookie self. Don't ever start playing games.
It's just so immersive. Like it really wraps me in. And when I get into something that much, I can't think of anything else. Like my girlfriend will be talking to me and I'll be like, what? You're saying something? Sorry, I was in Elden Land in my mind. But no, I've learned myself a bit over time. So I know when I need to just pull something away from me or not.
Yeah, because I was thinking you were saying that it was a way for you to like turn your mind off, where for me like surfing helps me just totally turn my mind off. I think of the documentary of Marc-Andre Leclerc. He was a free soloist.
Yeah,
it's called The Alpinist.
And
I think it's the best documentary I've ever seen. But in that, I think his girlfriend Stephanie talks about. I think the producer was like, "Why do you like to free solo?" And they were like, "It requires that you're totally in the present." And I really related to that because surfing is something that's really challenging for me and hard for me and doesn't come natural. And so when this massive wave is coming behind me, it's like, dude, I have to like give all of myself to like this one moment or else I'm going under and I'm getting tumbled and this thing's going to throw me down. And it's freeing to do that because about like the anxiety and thinking about the future, like if you're just not engaging in those activities, it can become like a prison of just thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think video games honestly is that for me. But when you combine that with my training and when it's causing negative effects towards that, the anxiety comes along with it, you know. But I mean, if I didn't have a football game to be ready for, I mean, going into that world, definitely. But think about him. It's the same thing. I come out of the video game and I just want to go back. He was so addicted to climbing that he ended up dying, unfortunately. I mean, when those things can stimulate you like that, and honestly, I felt like I related to him a bit, talking about his ADHD. I thought it was really interesting and how he was just a party animal, and I kind of was like that, and football for me was my outlet where his was climbing. So I thought that was cool.
He was a very interesting cat.
So cool.
What was so cool about him is he really didn't care for any of the attention. I remember he was like free soloing this one face that was like, I guess, going to be historic, and nobody had done it. And the producers were like all excited to go shoot it. And then he just went like rogue. Him. He ghosted him.
It's like, now I did
for
it.
90 days.
So
and then came back. Yeah, they finally were like, where were you? We couldn't get a hold of you. He's like, oh, I went and did it. And they're like, are you serious?
What did he say? He said, I wouldn't feel like it's a true free solo if you were there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a true free solo if you guys were there with the cameras.
Yeah, that was honestly...
Wouldn't be a true conversation, Patrick and Brian, if...
Without... What are you plugging right now?
Well, I'm trying to say these guys are here with cameras, man. That's not a true...
Oh, I thought you were about to plug Body Armor or something. It wouldn't be a true...
No, Body Armor's not a sponsor yet. They're not a sponsor.
It wouldn't be a true interview with
Okay, I feel like you've already answered this. Health-wise, how do you feel going into the season?
I mean, if we look back at last year, I had a pretty good year, and I felt like... Yeah. So I'm feeling great, honestly, compared to where I was. I'm excited for this year, definitely.
You had an elite year in terms of forced fumbles.
Yeah, it was fun.
7?
Yeah, just a couple of them. I was just...
Yeah. Hopefully you can top that for us this year.
10.
If you can come in with 10 forced fumbles, Joey, I will take you for a nice Mastro steak dinner.
You still owe me dinner.
Yes,
I was looking at the text.
I do still owe you dinner, and we will have to make that happen.
Now you owe me 2 dinners.
Now I owe you 2 dinners, but you have to get 10 strip sacks.
Okay.
All right.
I'll buy dinner for everybody on the team if I get 10 strip sacks.
Yeah, you'll be getting...
After Aaron Donald's little come up.
That was huge.
Yeah, I didn't really look into it too much, but what was it, 30 plus a year?
Well, he got 30 plus a year, which is ridiculous.
Come on, Nicky.
Yeah, seriously. Come on, Nick. Have a great year. But he's one of the most spectacular defensive players I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but I think he got $60 million guaranteed, $65 million guaranteed over the first 2 years. And then the last year is basically like, hey, if you decide to play, here's another $35 million.
Probably, yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Do you think he actually considered retirement?
I honestly didn't hear anything about that. I've been one thing, I deleted Instagram off my phone, which is wonderful. I'm so removed from news. Like, I'll go on YouTube and I get into some rabbit holes sometimes, which isn't good, but like just being far removed from that, because like none of that matters, you know? Like the only thing that matters is, like, for me, I feel like now is what's happening in front of me. And if it's really that important, you're going to get a hold of me and we're going to get on the phone or something, like. So I don't know.
You're going to get on the podcast. If it's that important, you're going to end up right here on the show. All right, last question, so you can get back to your day. What did you think of the Chargers anime release schedule? You don't have Instagram, so I don't know if you saw
that actually. Megan sent it to me.
What did you think of it? Because you're an anime fan, right?
I wish there was a little more love to me, though. I wanted to see like some animated animation moving. Yeah. Like, it was only the still shot on the bear. I wanted to see me like. I liked the shot of Herbert. That was sick.
There were probably throwing the ball. Probably a few shots of Herbert. I didn't watch it. Yeah,
he's the man now.
Yeah, he's the face of the franchise. But speaking about you are with the hair. But the Instagram thing, that was one of the things he opened with in his episode, which was great. Everybody should go listen to it. Slight plug. He deleted like Instagram, Twitter. When he was at Oregon, it was so toxic for him, and obviously it's paid dividends. All he has now is Instagram, and it probably does because Bose and all these companies are wanting to pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars. So he's like, I guess I'll download it and post every once in a while.
He could tell his agency to do it for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say something, but
dude, it's been a solid hour and 4 minutes, and I appreciate you. It's going to bless a lot of people. I'm serious.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too serious. I thought I was gonna.
No, we were shooting the
loosen up
breeze.
a little bit. I always go too deep.
But that's the stuff that matters. We had a lot of good laughs. I had to tell you to like stay in front of the mic about 500 times.
Do we get a little horn noise here? Like
yeah, if you press that, let's see here. If you press this one. Oh. All right.
That was great.
Signing off. Let's try the yellow one.
You've just been
Joey.
tranquilized.
Thank you for coming on today.
That was
Wow,
good.
that was good.
Wrap.